Welcome, Single Block Algebra 1 students, to your introductory video with Miss Compte here at Spratley. In this video, parents, welcome to you as well. We're going to go over the basics of this class and how it's going to work. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with some expectations in class. We do expect you at Spratley to be responsible, respectful, and safe. And we want you to do that in my class by following directions the first time that I give them and by coming to class prepared to work. Being that this is a flipped classroom, something we'll talk about more in a few minutes, it is really important that you are prepared before you come to class. You make the lesson plan a great deal harder when you are not prepared and ready to go on with your video notes already taken. I want you to be respectful. That means I want you to raise your hand for permission to speak, and I want you to work with your classmates in a constructive manner. These are totally reasonable expectations in a regular classroom, and I think that you probably already know how to do both of those things. And I want you to be safe. That means I want you to raise your hand for permission to leave your seat. We're looking at a couple of big classes. One of them is 30 and the other's 26. So it would be a really good idea for you to make sure that you do raise your hand for permission to leave your seat unless you're getting a tissue or sharpening a pencil. Those are my two exceptions. You don't have to raise your hand for those two things. But other than that, just raise your hand before you start wandering. Less likely to cause a problem. And maintain your integrity. Do your own work. Video notes, for example. Don't copy someone else's video notes. You're not going to learn anything from that. That's not going to help you. And there are expectations from me, too. The teacher will enforce expectations fairly and equally for all students. So I'm going to treat you all the same. But I'm going to provide an opportunity for each of you to learn. I'm going to differentiate for what you need as a learner. But I am going to treat you each individually with the same respect, and I'm going to hold you to the same level of expectation. What are we going to learn? Well, this is Algebra 1. It's the first of 3 high school credit courses in math. The first out being, as we said, Algebra 1, then Geometry, then Algebra 2, or Honors Algebra 2 Trig, which is what most of you will probably be taking when you get to that point. We, this year, are going to be studying number sense and computation. We're going to learn how to manipulate and solve equations and inequalities. We're going to do graphing and interpreting functions, and we're going to apply intermediate statistics to real-life data. And now we'll just say a few words about high school credit. So this being the first of the 3 high school credit courses that you take that have SOLs, and then I think you take one after that. That's the kind of thing you're going to have to ask guidance about if you want more information there. But after you take Algebra, Geometry, Algebra 2, there are other choices for math courses. But grades are awarded by semester when you take high school credit. Semester 1, for example, that grade is quarter 1 and quarter 2, each make up 40% of the average. And the semester exam makes up 20% of that average for a total of 100%. There are no exemptions on the first semester exam for anyone, regardless of attendance or anything else. Everyone has to take that exam, and that's in the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. The second semester, you can do the same thing, where quarter 3 and quarter 4 in the exam are 40, 40, 20. And you can also be exempt from the exam, making each of these 50%. So that depends on you individually, and it depends on how the SOL goes and stuff like that. When you earn a passing SOL score and a passing grade in the class, you get a verified credit toward graduation. Again, things like verified credits, I'm just not equipped to really answer a whole lot of questions about those, but our guidance counselors and probably also the high school websites can probably answer some of those questions. And maybe even the handbook, the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. What should I bring to class each day? Well, you have your supply list that you got for the class, and I know for some of you that you had already gotten supplies, so I appreciate you getting other ones, and if you need supplies, let me know. I can help you out with a few of these things. Your composition notebook. Yes, I prefer a composition notebook. We are less likely to remove pages from the composition notebooks because they are sewn together. A 1-inch 3-ring binder doesn't have to be 1 inch, but I'm telling you that you don't need anything bigger than that. You're going to hold your handouts and graded work in there. A working pencil. 8th graders, I'm talking to you right now, not my new 8th graders that I haven't taught before, but those of you that I taught last year, I am not your pencil provider, so please bring a pencil to class. The only reason I prefer mechanical is so that you'll avoid having to get up to sharpen them. Bring your iPad with a full charge. You're not going to use it 90 minutes every single class that you come to my class, but you will need to use it. If you bring it with a full charge at the start of the day, then you should be okay, fourth block, to use it. I am looking at getting maybe some of those like speed chargers and some other ways to charge those iPads up in the classroom, because I know this might be an issue for some of us. And being very large classes, I'm not going to be able to have you huddle around the 2 electrical outlets that I have in my classroom. A stylus for writing on the iPad is recommended, not required. I love my stylus. I have a wonderful one that I got from Amazon. Parents, if you're interested and you use Amazon, it's called the Friendly Swede. You can email me. I'll send you a link. You don't need the stylus. You can write with your finger if you prefer, or if you don't want to have to keep track of that. What can I do to work for success? First of all, stay on task with your assignments. This is an every other day class. That means that you really need to make sure you are doing the work before you come into my class. Take quality notes. Do not phone it in. When you sit down to watch an instructional video, make sure that you understand how to take notes, what the expectations are for those notes. Stay on top of your math practice. You have a grade for it, so it's a good idea that you stay on top of it. Not having games on that iPad, I think, is really going to help us in this category this year. You must work to understand the math conceptually first. Folks, if you made it to single block, chances are you're pretty good at this part. Understanding the math conceptually, understanding what we're actually talking about. And anytime you have questions about what we're actually talking about, ask. Ask. I mean, my job is to explain stuff. Think about it. And you have to practice the skills. Practice those skills. This is just like anything else in life. Understand it and then practice it to get better at it. A few words about grades. So students do not earn A's and B's because they're gifted. And this is something that parents are going to have to learn to accept before too long, because guys, we're not going to get A's and B's forever all the time simply because of who we are and simply because of how good we are at what we do. You are going to find something that is a big challenge to you. Maybe it's algebra. Maybe it's going to be geometry. Maybe it's going to be government or chemistry. You're going to find something that makes you work extra hard. If you earn A's and B's because you worked extra hard, then that's exactly what the goal was. But please do not expect to earn A's and B's purely because you show up to class. Anyone can learn math, but some of you will need more practice than others. This is a reality thing. Moms and dads, I hear lots of adults come in and tell me how they're no good at math. In fact, some of you probably said that to me last Thursday night. You know, it's interesting because you never really hear an adult walk into a room and say, oh, I'm practically illiterate. But we find it perfectly acceptable to talk about how bad we are at math. So parents, I really want you to work hard this year not to have that kind of negative talk. In fact, if you want to learn the math, sit down with your child and watch the videos. You can learn it just like they can. Anyone can learn. Anyone can learn anything. You just have to put your mind to it. And while I do not have to offer extra credit, I do offer second chances. I take work late. I take work late for a deduction in credit, sometimes for full credit. It depends on what it is and what happened to cause you to be late in the first place. What is a flipped classroom? Well, your instruction is going to be delivered by video at home, while your practice part is going to be done with me in the classroom. A video will be assigned after every class. IXL and Khan Academy practice will also be required with a minimum of 60 minutes per week. This is going to require work for you outside of class in addition to your instructional videos. I am not going to be able to tell you how much time it's going to take unless you sort of put your mind to sitting down and getting 20 minutes at a session. Now, you're going to get credit for up to 90 minutes a week. Extra credit, so you can actually get 150% on this particular homework grade. And I think this year it's going to be a little easier to get this, as I said earlier in the video, because we don't have gaming on our iPads this year. So, and you want that kind of fix, that interactive fix, why not do IXL? Why not do Khan Academy? Why not learn something rather than picking up a different device at home, your own device, and gaming? Just think about that. You know, there's a rule, 10,000 hours. There's a book called Outliers that talks all about how it takes 10,000 hours of practice to become an expert at something. I'm not expecting 10,000 hours, guys. I'm not. But this is the beginning of what could be a very good career in something that involves say mathematics. And why not start getting into the habit of being that person who puts in that extra time to practice? The grading percentages for algebra, this is the same for all Hampton City Schools courses, for all high school credit ones. It is supposed to be the same across the city, according to the math department. 15% classwork and homework, so anything we do in class, including warm-ups, and your completion score and your IXL grade, your completion grades for your notes and your IXL or Khan Academy time grade. 30% quizzes. You will, on occasion, have a pop quiz. It's called a homework quiz for me, and it will be open note. So a pop quiz is a homework quiz, and they are open note. And I make them open note because they are a quiz to make sure that you are on top of taking those notes from your videos and doing a good job with it. 50% of the grade is found by their test average. That may seem like a lot, but we are in a high-stakes testing state. We do have SOL tests that determine if you move on to the next level in the course, or in the category, in the subject area. So yes, we do have to make sure we can do well on an assessment. Every time we have a test at the end of a chapter or a unit, we will also have a chance to correct that test and earn a second test grade in addition to the first one. And then 5% of the grade is the critical skills assessment. Before you get too excited about something that's new, this is our old friend, the benchmark, with a new name tag. Critical skills assessment is the new name for the benchmark test, and that will count in the first and third quarters. In the second and fourth quarter, that 5% is going to get added to the classwork and homework category, and making it 20%. So for 2 quarters, the critical skills assessment counts, and for 2 quarters, it does not. Fourth quarter, because we don't have one, in the second quarter, because we have an exam instead. Wrap this up for you at this point. Just to let you know, extra help is offered on Tuesdays and Wednesday mornings. I do prefer that you get a pass. It's from 8 until school starts. I would like you to get a pass from me. An email will suffice as a pass. My email address is the typical Hampton email, and there's my phone number in the classroom. Parents, if you could please, I now have an online contact form for you to complete, showing that you completed this video, and that will show me that you did your portion of the homework. Kids, make sure that you direct your parent to do this. This is my website, mrslecomte.weebly.com. And the online parent contact form is actually on the main page. Shouldn't have any trouble finding it. Students, I showed you in class, so be nice. Show your parents. I mean, come on, these are the people who taught you how to use a bathroom. So let's think about that, okay? Especially when you're having your teenage behaviors that cause trouble at home. Let's remember how important these people are to you. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned quite a bit. Look forward to hearing from everyone and seeing you guys in class.